Hello and welcome to another episode of the Final Casts with your hosts Matt.
Brad.
How you doing, Brad?
Good, man. You?
Oh man, I'm not doing too bad. Just living life. I threw my back out yesterday because I tried to pick up an AC by myself.
You know what?
So,
You text the group that, and I was like, I wonder if he did it lifting weights.
No, I was lifting. So my whole store is getting redone. For everyone out there, I run a retail store, and it's all getting redone, and I'm changing my whole floor map, and I had to move an AC, and instead of wait for help, I said I can do it, and I got it off the ground, picked it up, and then I went and I moved, and I used my back to move the weight, and it just locked up to where I dropped it, fell on the ground, and laid there for like 10 minutes yesterday, until I rolled over into a seated position, and then I pulled myself up, and yeah, I haven't been able to bend over since, so it's great.
That sucks.
Yeah.
You know who else hurt themselves recently? Our good friend Zach from DarkHorse Tackle. He tore his bicep off the bone. He's getting surgery tomorrow.
Yeah, I talked to him about it last week. And yeah, man, it's gnarly to say the least.
It sucks because he was coming down to Dale Hollow, but obviously he can't now. So
well, yeah, I will say it that's another reason why it sucks. I mean, it's just, oh man, that's rough. That is rough to say the least. So
yep. I would
speedy recovery for you, Zach.
Yeah, for sure. I'd probably cry like a girl. Man.
Oh, you probably. Yeah, I would too. Yeah, oh, dude, it's rough. But yeah, guys, like every week, this episode is brought to you by Nikko. Nikko Plastics, the next generation of soft baits, some of the best super plastic baits you can get. I use them. Brad uses them. A lot of guys now that have fished with them are using them, and they are easily one of the most durable baits on the market, period. With great Hellgrammites, which is a staple. These things get bit nationwide. And then a couple of other baits that we love, like the leech. Me and Brad had a 100 fish day last season, just pretty much on the leech. So
me, you, and James, that was a crazy day.
Yeah, me, you, and James. That was. I think about that literally all the time. It's man,
best day ever.
It really was. It's one of those days which on the river you don't have a lot of these days, but it was one of those days where I was like, I'm tired. I want to go home. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
And we still had like 2 miles left.
Yeah.
And we just kept catching fish. And at one point I was like, okay, yep, I got another one. This is cool.
I know I had a good limit that day too, like a 19, 218s. I don't even
Yeah, I'm about to say you had a 19. I thought, did you catch a 20 on that trip?
No.
I know you had a 19 218s. I think you had a 17 because I had an 18 217s and then 216s. So I had a pretty decent limit going too.
Yeah.
Then a ton of short fish. It was
yep.
all.
I had a ton of those too.
Yeah. Also brought to you by DarkHorse Tackle, the best bait you've never heard of, the best subscription service. That's where kind of the first part of our show is going to be going over this month's box. And just like every box, it is a doozy, like always. So definitely check them out, darkhorsetackle.com. Use the code PADDLE20 for 20% off your first subscription box. And you have to do this subscription to get the 20% off your first box. But I promise, guys, it is 100% worth it.
Weekend Warrior box. That's the one it works with.
Yep. Not that it doesn't work on the quarterly box or the dabble pack. It works on the Weekend Warrior box, which is their main subscription box.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be going over tonight. And like I said, I mean, it's more than worth its money. So definitely check that out. Paddle 20% off your first monthly subscription on the Weekend Warrior box.
Let's just get into it, dude, because I'm kind of excited for this one. Like,
let's do it.
It seems like this box, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things in this box. Usually you don't get that many. Usually it's 4 or 5.
When I open the box, typically it's like 5. I opened the box and saw how stuffed it was. I was like, oh man, we got.
I know. I was surprised.
And a good one.
Yeah. But I'm kind of excited for this box. Like I told Zach, I was like, dude, you guys are killing it lately with your boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, like I've used everything in the last like 3 months that I've gotten these boxes. So
one thing you use, it's like the only thing you want to catch fish on, apparently.
Yep. Bitter's Naked Swimmer.
Yep.
That thing's cool though. It reminds me, it's like it's a paddle tail. Mm-hmm. It swims like a Joshy.
It does. It's that super.
it wobbles and then it shimmies. It's so cool. It looks awesome.
No, it definitely does. No, it's a great bait. But yeah, let's get into it. Brad, you go first. Start us on the first thing you want to talk about.
Oh, the thing I'm probably most excited for, we talked about it. You're not as excited about it, but I am because I think it looks sweet. And I think it's because the colors.
Probably. I mean,
black and yellow. So this one is the Stoneman and Sons Combat Wake Bait, $10.99 value, and the paint job looks freaking sweet. It's black and yellow, like I mentioned, spotted black dots at the top, and then the lateral line down the side.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got their logo here on the bottom. This guy, I think he actually hand carves these.
He does, yeah. I'm pretty sure he does. He hand carves these, yeah. It's not that I'm not excited about it. It's as most people know, I'm very set in my ways when it comes to fishing. I really kind of stay with the same styles. I've got a ton of Megabass S cranks. Are probably the only crankbaits I really like to throw. Vision 110s that's my jerkbait of choice, and then the shower blows, that's my topwater choice now. But so it's the shape that's thrown me, but it's Brad, like he said. I mean, the paint job is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous bait. It has nice sharp hooks on it. And you can really tell he took his time to do it, which is awesome. And, I think now that I'm really looking at it with that big square rear end, I think this will probably wobble in the water really hard.
Oh, yeah.
And then it does have a nice little knock.
Mine don't have a knocker in it.
Oh, mine does.
Oh, you want to trade?
No.
Dang it. That sucks. No, it's unique. It's like flat-sided, square on the back. It kind of reminds me of a hatchback, like a car.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old, like the first thing I saw when I opened the box like 2 days ago was a Civic DX.
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, oh man, it's blasting the past in high school. It looks like a Civic DX, but with that square back, it's really going to want to almost like walk or wobble the rear end real violently, which is what you want for topwater. This year, when we go down to Dale Hollow, we're going a little later in the season, so fish should be a lot more fired up. And I expect topwater to come into play in the early mornings and then like the mid-afternoon bite. So I'm definitely going to tie it on and throw it because you can cover a ton of water with wake baits like this.
Yeah. So. The other thing I was going to mention, what was I going to mention about it?
No one knows.
I don't know. It's whatever.
All right. So moving on to the thing I'm kind of excited about, and I think is really cool, and I've already got it semi-rigged up, but this is and that bait from him was $10.99. So there's our running total for this week's box. Brad, remind viewers out there.
You got it. You got the next one rigged up. Just share both of them.
That's what I was gonna do. Yeah.
Okay.
Remind the viewers out there how much the Weekend Warrior box is a month.
30
subscription, I believe it. Yeah, it's $29.99. So we're already at a $10.99. So let's just round up to $11. So the next one that we're going to be looking at is the Sasquatch jigs. This is a 1/4 ounce structure jig. Brad got the football jig. And I've got that rigged with something else in the box, which is the Swamp Pro 3.5-inch coffin cutter. So this is the bait that's on the back of this, which me and Brad are both really excited about. Brad, I think you still have one out if you want to show it outside the package. Mine's already rigged up.
I don't, but I'll grab it real quick.
Yep. So these are super unique because they're really, really narrow and the claws look great. And this is on the back of that structure jig, like I said, from Sasquatch. I mean, and that you can look on it has a unique kind of claw pattern. They're thin,
sharp.
But they feel durable and they're thin. I think they're gonna really flap in the water great. But what's so cool about it is the profile of that bait. Brad, turn that sideways. It's super thin, and like I got it tied up to the structure jig. Sorry if everyone just heard me hit my boom. When we go down Dale Hollow, we're going to be fishing a lot of areas that have flooded trees and stuff. This is just going to get pitched right on those trees. And just with it being so thin, it's just going to want to dart straight down.
Yeah.
So, but with this jig, it's your standard tie. And then it has hair. I want to say it's caribou hair. I could be wrong. Or not caribou hair.
Marabou.
Marabou. Yeah. Caribou. Hey,
caribou coffee.
Not? Yeah, totally. Sponsored by, I wish.
That'd be sweet. Campfire mochas. Those are good.
Mm-hmm. But it has some hair built into the skirt, so it's going to give you a little bit more body, a little bit more fluff. But yeah, man, it's just it's a good jig, and it's a structured jig. Brad, like I said, he got the football head jig, so different application, but still a fantastic jig. And that jig comes in at $5.99, and then the pack of coffin cutters, which I don't know if anybody else noticed how many you get in this, but this is a 10-pack.
I was gonna say that
You get a ton in this, and those from them are $5.99 as well.
Yeah, that's a really good deal because I think a lot of trailers out there on the market, you get what, 5, 6,
Typically, it's 5 or 6,
and it's the same price.
Yep, they're $5.99. But this, you're getting 10 of them. They feel durable. It's not a super plastics, so obviously, with these claws, if something short strikes it, you're going to lose a claw. That's just how it is. We're all used to that by this point. But another thing with these, I think these would be great trailers on the back of like a chatterbait or a swim jig, because these are going to have a ton of action just sit in your hands. Like when I pull them apart, they want to kind of curl tail and move. So they're going to be kicking and thumping and doing a lot of stuff behind the bait, which is, in a trailer, what you want. You want to kind of entice that bite most of the time. So just with those 3 baits, we're already at $22.97. So round up to $23, and we still have 5 baits to go, or no, 3 baits to go.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm going to mention this about the jig too. The hook's a unique hook. I don't know what kind of hook that is, but it has like a unique bend to it. It looks like you're able to like kind of Texas rig it like the Jigmaster's finesse jig.
If you wanted to, if you kept a little bit more bait on it, you definitely could.
Yeah.
And what I will say, that bait slid right up that hook with there was no resistance at all. That's how sharp that hook was. Just zipped right in there. Yep, super sticky. And then toward the collar of the jig, you have 2 independent hook keepers that are molded in the jig, so it's going to hold on to that plastic and not let it back out on you. So it's just going to make your plastics last longer. The only thing I wish it would be a smaller, like a wire type of keeper, for the simple fact that a lot of the molded in keepers, after 1 or 2 or 3 fish, they tend to want to rip. Instead, they'll hold the bait there, but the bait will want to kind of balloon out because it's such a big keeper because it's molded. But still, I mean, a fantastic jig, and for $5.99, it's just as good as anything else in the market. So
yeah, and these coffin cutters, man, they smell so good.
Yeah,
garlic.
Yeah.
I think it's garlic, right? Does it say? On
It
the
is,
bag?
yeah. It doesn't say, I haven't looked at the bag, to be honest. I was just excited when I got them. I opened it. I didn't do any reading. But it is
Scented with a proprietary something scent. I can't pronounce that word, so I'm not even gonna try. But dude, it smells like freaking
acarific.
It smells like Olive Garden or something. No Fazoli's.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely smells like a garlicky smell, which, like we all know, who's been fishing for any period of time, we all like to, when we were kids, we'd always get it all over our hands, that garlic smell that was in our dad's toolboxes. And then we have stuff now that has scent additive. It just makes the fish, once they get on it, they want to stay on it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for both of those. I think those will do some work pretty much anywhere in the country where you're at, and I'm excited to throw it next week.
Yeah.
So, all right, next one. What are we getting into?
Throwing the next one next week, which might be a good time to throw it. Well, I know the tube's a good time to. The springtime is a good time to pull this tube out. That's what I was trying to say. Jeez. But anyway, Dry Creek Custom Baits. They have a 7-pack of tubes here, and these things look killer. I think they're 3.5 inches. They're really like slim profile. They're not fat like a lot of other ones that we've seen out there. But this one is a green pumpkin with black flake, and then the appendages are red. I've never seen that before. The red looks
that's
sweet.
That's going to be a perfect crawl impersonator
For the river.
Oh yeah, it's going to be straight up money for the river. Mine is green pumpkin. It's called Roadkill Blue, and you can kind of see the blue on the backside of the appendages at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
which is cool because the outside is green, and then the inside of it is that like electric blue. So it just adds a little bit of difference. That green and blue, there are crawls around the country that are green and blue through the molting cycle and stuff. So yeah, I think these will do great work too. We were kind of talking before the show. I don't throw tubes that often anymore. Ew. I need to get back into it. And you just got like a 4,000 milligrams of salt.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Through your
it
nose.
says tons of salt right here on the package. Just add water.
So in their 3.5-inch full body tubes, that's kind of your standard. You can get the little micro tubes, the baby tubes, and then they make 4.5 and 5-inch tubes, the real big presentation. But I think the 3.5 is where your money's at. That's what's going to do the best work everywhere. And I think kind of like with that jig, I think next week in those submerged trees and stuff and up toward the bank, moving it off to ledges and secondary points, I think those tubes will, especially yours with that red appendage, I think those are going to do some work.
Yeah. I think we've been reading reports about Dale Hollow, and they're saying spawning fish down there already. So I'm thinking they'll be post-spawn by the time we get there.
In some areas, I can see it. Now, when's the last report you read? It was the one you sent all of us?
Yeah. I didn't
So in that report, they haven't started spawning yet. The water temp's still 58, 59 degrees. So smallmouth aren't going to want to really start spawning until 60 to 62, and largemouth aren't going to want to start spawning to 65 to 68. So hopefully, because we've had a good string, hopefully next week, with the amount of hot weather they've had there and the reservoir is not really filling anymore, so that water can kind of get hot without any new additive. It should be prime time for fish to start going. It did say in that report they've already moved to beds and they're starting to bed guard and stuff. But if it's still 58, 59 degrees, we're not going to see any spawn. If we do, I'd be surprised. So, but when we get there, hopefully it's pushed in the 60s and we can definitely get on them. Some real aggressive fish.
I bet we will, man. I just have a feeling.
I've got a feeling. All right. So those tubes were $6.59. So $6.59 for a pack of tubes. So we're already at $29.56. So we have 2 more baits, and we've already pretty much paid for the subscription box.
Yep.
All right. So next, tried and true. I've got these in my tackle box. I always love to get more. They are the Jig Master shaky heads. These are 3/8 ounce 3-pack. You can never go wrong with these. The screw lock on the front is fantastic. Everything about anything Jig Masters is fantastic.
Which a lot of shaky head companies, or a lot of companies that make shaky heads, they'll put like the screw lock on like an eyelet and it swivels. But this one's a fixed one, and I kind of like that better.
Yeah, I like the fixed ones better, which I actually went to as I drop one on my floor so I can step on it later. There it is. I personally like the fixed ones better because A, it's easier to get the bait on the hook, and B, it kind of keeps that bait pinned a little bit better. Now, there are some people who say, well, you do it that way, your bait's going to get torn through quicker. I haven't noticed my bait gets torn through quicker than it does when I put it on a regular shaky head, but that's neither here nor there. And that kind of moves us right into, we could talk some more into that, but there's not really much to talk into the Jig Master shaky heads. People know who they are, but price wise, it's $4.99. So we're at $34.50 right now. And that goes into our last bait, which, Brad, when you open this, your nose is going to explode.
It smells, it's a unique smell. And I actually read the package of the scent here. They call it enhanced with bass syrup, and it's coffee and garlic mix.
Oh, so that's been a staple for a while. It smells a little different than other companies who have done that coffee garlic mix, because like Strike King's been doing coffee scents for a long time.
Yeah.
But it smells a little bit different, and it's probably because it's mixed in there.
There it is.
But yep, I'm literally rigging mine up. So what color did you get? Because I got green pumpkin.
Oh.
Yeah, see, you're getting the best colors. Black is is the best shaky head color you can get, in my opinion.
Black's an awesome color in general. I love it.
It really is. And then
these are 7.5 inch worms, by the way. Ribtail worm by Z Bait Company.
ZEE, that is Z Bait Company. It's called the Ribtail Worm. Yeah, you already said that. 7.5 inches. And there we go. That's it rigged up on the Jig Master. So I do mine a little bit different for my shaky heads. I basically Texas rig them on there. Some people just kind of push it through to where the whole plastic's on it. But I like having a little bit better. Yep, a little bit better presentation. And this, I mean, paired with this Jigmaster jig, this thing is going to want to stand because the Jigmaster shaky heads are flat on one side, which most are, but it's not just flat. It's flat on the top and flat on the back. So this is going to want to rock back and forth, and it's going to take that tail and really start moving it around.
I'm kind of curious to see how this reacts. Like they have, in order for it to stand straight up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because the back part of this worm has like that ribbed, fat little tail.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see if it stands straight up or not, which I'm guessing it does.
I'm going to say it probably will. Those ribs, the joy of ribs on the back of a tail is it's not only ribbed for her pleasure, but it's ribbed for the fish's pleasure. And
hey, don't discriminate. Ribbed for his pleasure too.
There you go. That's weird, but okay. Lord God. Oh man. Okay. What was I saying?
Funny.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Oh. So any type of current or anything like that, that tail's really going to catch it and want to kick and want to move.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot more action out of it, even if it doesn't want to stand completely straight up. If it's at an angle, it's still going to want to kick up. So you're going to probably get a little bit more action out of it, which is never a bad thing. And then for the rib tails, those are $7.99 a pack. So we're at $42.54 on a $29 box.
You get 9 of those in the pack too.
Yep, and that's what I was going to next, because some people, when they see a shaky head worm, they say, "Oh, $7.99, $8 for a pack. That's crazy." You got to remember, if you go buy shaky head worms or ribtail worms from anybody else, you're looking at between $5 and $7 anyway, and they come in packs of 4 to 6. So you're getting 9 baits with this, which is a plus. So,
man, I think that's going to be one of the first things I have tied on it. It depends. Like for fishing deep, I'm definitely throwing one of those.
Oh yeah, without a question. I've already got the
around the rock. For around rock, I'm throwing it.
I tell you what, if we're around rock, I'm probably gonna be throwing that tube quite a bit, because it can get down in those crannies a little bit more and not get hung up as much. And I just want to get back to throwing a tube. I've thrown one in like 2 years, and I kind of miss it. That Sasquatch jig around some structure. Oh, I'm excited.
The rocky formations at Dale Hollow, they're just awesome. So cool.
Oh yeah, I like to think of them as big steps, because if you have any type of finder or anything, you can look down on side imaging, and you can actually see it step up, and you can see fish hanging off each level of those steps, no matter what depth they're at. So, I mean, that's pretty exciting. I'm super pumped. I think these baits are going to do great no matter where you're at, but I think they're going to really turn out for us. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I like this box. I like it a lot. So I'm pumped. Good box.
Yeah, this month was a great box, and like I've said on multiple other episodes, I don't think we ever got a box where we didn't like almost everything or everything in the box every single month.
Oh yeah.
So
I forgot to mention. So as you guys heard last week, we had what's his name on? Brian Goodland from DarkMaster. Man, I could not think of it. Yeah. We had him, and he custom made me and Matt some crankbaits. Do you have yours with you by any chance?
I don't. If you get, I mean, I can go run and grab it real quick.
No, that's good. I'm gonna pull up my picture of it. I just want people to see this. So if you guys
they're so sick. They're the big, so for everyone out there who's like me and has any type of JDM love, they're the big Megabass grenade blanks, and the paint job is stellar, to say the least.
Come on. I hate Facebook.
I do too. There it is. They're so slick, man. It's that perfect Fire Tiger blend. And it is huge in the hooks. So they're reverse barbs, like we talked in the show, and they are sticky as all get out.
He said those are barbarians.
Yes, VMC? Those are the VMC barbarians.
Yeah. That thing. The picture does not do this thing justice. This thing is massive. It's almost as big as my hand.
Yep.
It's like 4.5 inches, 2 ounces, I think I read, and it dives down to 2 feet.
Yep. It's basically that shallow water, big profile bait. I'm excited. I'm definitely throwing it at Dale Hollow. It's the first thing when he messaged us showed us pictures and everything about what it was. I told him it's getting thrown at Dale Hollow because these fish are going to be super aggressive, and that thing is just such a big profile. You can really get everything's going to want to eat it because how good it looks, and those hooks are going to stick on everything. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and as you can see here, he put the logo on it and our name. So
yep,
shout out to Brian, dude. You're the man. These are awesome baits.
Oh, for sure, man. You definitely, if you're listening, you didn't need to do this, but we really appreciate it. We love them. And everyone I've shown has gotten compliments from it. So good job.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's the end of our show.
No, a little short one today. No. Second half of the show. It's going to probably be relatively quick because this app, you can't really go super in depth on it because there's not a ton to do, but it's a super cool app. I didn't even know it was a thing until Brad messaged me about it. But it's the OnWater app from any app store, Android and Apple. They all are the same thing.
OnWater.
Yeah, as I said, OnWater. What did I say?
On the water.
Okay, well, no, it's not the Ohio State, just OnWater. So what's really cool about it, and Brad, first, how did you find this app? Like, were you just looking or?
Oh, NRS Fishing, they made a post on Instagram a few weeks ago, and Mark actually sent it to me, and he was like, "Have you seen this?" I'm like, "No." So I checked it out a little bit and thought it was cool. So I was like, "I'm gonna send this to Matt, tell him to download it. We need to talk about it on a show." So that's how I heard about it. Haven't really used it yet, but I've been tinkering around with it and messing with some of the features and stuff.
Yeah, so you probably have a little bit more experience with it than me because, like, for instance, it gives you a couple different options. So there's some photos that you can load up to certain areas, but when you basically bring it up, it's going to be, see if this will work. Probably not because my light, but there's different things that you can click through, and it has all these different lakes and rivers and stuff around you. And just playing with it, we fish the GMR, the Great Miami River here in Ohio, a lot, and I searched that, and you can pull it right up. And what's awesome about it, I wish I could like screen share, that'd be great, but it'll pull up a map, which you can kind of see it, and these little blue dots are points all the way up. So if you're not used to a river or you're going to an area to fish, which is why I told Brad, if we ever go any other area, I'm just going to load this app up because it tells you all the drop-ins. It tells you, what's around there. If there's a dam, it gives you some basic stuff. But when you click on a boat ramp area, so this is a ramp that me and Brad frequent quite often, you can kind of set up points and set up trips and all that fun stuff through it. But when you click on a ramp, it'll pull up all the things in that area. So like around you, so tackle shops. So like for us, there's going to be Dick's Sporting Goods, Cabela's, things along those lines. But if you're going to a new area and you're like, oh, I want to fish while I'm there, all you got to do is load this app up. You can click on a boat ramp and it's going to tell you everything that's around you, which is awesome.
The thing that I thought was cool was it has offline map capabilities, which if you're on a river in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to get cell service. So before heading out to your trip, just download the app or download the map of that river and you're good to go. And while you're floating, it also calculates distance, and you can also add access points if you find one, I think, and you can take pictures of the access point, all that stuff.
No, I mean, it's definitely a cool app. It's kind of like, how I thought of it. How I thought of it, I was thinking, if I ever go to another river that I'm not familiar with, because that's the biggest thing that stops a lot of people from getting on the rivers because they don't know where to put in.
Yeah.
Like they'll see like, oh, that looks really cool to fish, but the only place I can see is dragging through the woods over there. I'll just go to a lake. But with this, you can pull it up. All the drop-ins are there. Other users submitted drop-ins, and it really kind of gives you a little bit more confidence of where to go, where to drop in, because you can see it on the map. But like for instance, we're going down to the O-Bay on Dale Hollow next year.
Yeah.
And it has the actual O-Bay River before it hits to the main lake, Dale Hollow. It has all the points, different drop-ins that you can go to, different boat ramps, how to get there. You can look and it'll actually show you a satellite thing. So you can kind of pre-plan, pre-trip, which if anybody knows me, I'm a big guy who likes to pre-trip. I don't like to just take a chance. So, I mean, it really gives you that in-depth feel of kind of planning a trip out.
I wonder if you can search up Dale Hollow on that.
I did. It pulled up the Obey.
Did it really?
Yep.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool because I think the Obey is pretty long river, right? So we can probably fish a different section of it if we want to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely something we can go into. And obviously, this isn't going to be like the most complete thing ever because like there's another creek that flows into the Obey or flows off of the Obey that, you know, we were going to hit when we're down there and it doesn't pop up. But like, for instance, here's the Allegheny. Me and Brad have been talking. We'd love to go fish the Allegheny. One of our buddies fishes up there all the time.
Yeah.
And you can pull that up. And I'm looking at the Allegheny right now and I can see all the different boat ramps. I can pretty much see everything I need to see. And it also kind of does what OnX does. It shows you where private property's at. So, you know, if there's a boat ramp it shows an access point and it's surrounded by private property and this access point's not, that's another thing. Because a lot of people think, oh, well, that's somebody's boat ramp. Well, no, it's public property. It's just surrounded by private that has a public access point. So this will kind of show you, but it'll give you, you know, quite a bit of information just from looking that up. So you can kind of pre-trip and pre-plan a little bit better. So yeah, it gives you a description of the river, you know, what the levels are, the current temperature. So like right now at Allegheny at the float, there's one flow station at Olean, New York, and the water temp's 59 degrees.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh, never mind. There's not. I'm looking at the Great Miami right now, and they don't have a temperature gauge for the Sydney one. They usually do.
Yeah, the temperature, and I found that there are a couple of the Great Miami ones that has a temp gauge, and a couple of them that does not.
Yeah.
But it does have your levels, which, you know, you can kind of go through and kind of see where everything's at. It's got the current weather in your area. So again, if you wanted to pre-trip, you can. And then if you keep going down, it has flying tackle shops where you can kind of really go through here and see, hey, if I'm going to be in the Cincinnati area, I can go hit, you know, the Delmer Hopkins Co., which is a flying tackle shop down there, and they're in Cincinnati area. It tells you the address. You can click on it. It'll take you there, gives you a phone number, gives you a website, gives you everything. So it's really kind of packed in there, which is nice. And then it goes down to state regulations. So if you're going somewhere new and you don't know, well, what do I need to buy and everything, it gives you links to click to actually go look at the state regulations for the area you're going to be in.
I like that it has the river length too. Like the Great Miami River, it says 159.26 miles, which I've done almost 90 miles on that river. That's crazy.
Yep. Oh, I mean, the Great Miami is a huge river. There's still sections I haven't touched. There's still sections you haven't touched.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a really cool app, and it's like I said, I didn't even know it was a thing until Brad told me about it, which kind of tells me that there's probably a lot more apps out there. So we're kind of just wanting to give a little spotlight out to it. Something definitely to check out, and I think it will definitely help, especially anglers who are new to the river in their area. Definitely help them get on the water and feel a little bit more comfortable about it.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Yeah, so if you hit the one button at the very top, you can like scroll out and you can see like different access points for a bunch of different rivers and stuff. Like the actual huge map. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hoover Reservoir came up, Little Miami River. I saw Alum Creek. So yeah. Huh, that's cool. And, yeah, you can type in your current location. You can type in wherever you're going, all that stuff. And they have a subscription service. I don't know what comes with that because I'm just on the free trial.
Yeah, I know with the subscription service, it's a
here it is.
Like it gives me an option. I don't know if you have it in the bottom right corner. It's a fish with multiple colors in it, and you can actually add your own place. It's only visible to just you.
Yeah.
So let's say you're, you know, on the Great Miami, you know of another area to put in that no one else does, then you can kind of mark that on your map so you know where it's at, and no one else can see that, which is a plus because I mean, just like everyone out there probably that are just like us, there's a lot of drop-ins and things that me and Brad know about that no one else knows about.
Yeah,
So if
some
we
of them
wanted
don't show up on here.
to, yeah, I noticed that when I was scrolling through, and there's some areas that aren't showing up. They're public access points, but they're not as well known.
Yeah.
And they're not really, what's the word, advertised by the state or, you know, wildlife or anything. It's just places that we know we can put in, or
Yeah.
places that we put in that we might not technically be supposed to, and no one cares. So,
Well, get creative with your freaking put-ins, guys. Like on a river, you can put in under any bridge if it's capable because it's owned by the state. You can drag under a bridge. You can put in there. Drag through the woods. Me and Matt and Justin have done that in the wintertime at a spot.
which sucks really
Yeah,
bad, but it's
It's
doable.
not that bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm just complaining to complain, but it's doable, and it gets you in an area that you wouldn't think you normally be able to get to right then. So in the winter, we will spot hop instead of just hitting. You know, we won't do where everyone else is putting in, just because, you know, most of the areas we want to fish in the river are away from put-ins. So we'll find these areas and then we'll spot hop from them. You know, this isn't working, we'll go over here. This isn't working, we'll go here until we find fish. And with being able to like drag through the river and everything, like, or through the woods and whatnot, and under bridges, we've done that and just, you know, put in right there and did a whole float that way. It kind of gives you access to new areas to fish, and also gives you a different kind of aspect of fishing, maybe a same area you've already done.
Yeah, which is nice for pickup spots at night. Like there's one spot, like you can't. If we wouldn't have found the spot to put in there, we would have had to float down to it, or we used to have to float that stretch to have to hit that spot, but we found a way to get in there without doing that.
Yep. So it definitely can make, especially in the winter, because 9 times out of 10, you're only going out for 2 or 3 hours. You're not out there all day to do a float. You're out there to hit that spot, see if fish are there, and if they're not, you move on. It's kind of a quick down and dirty way of fishing. It's just you're spot hopping. So being able to get to a spot a lot quicker and easier and faster without having to do a longer float or floating a stretch, you know, it just makes you want to do it more. So
Yeah,
definitely something to experiment with, guys.
yeah. My weeknight fishing trips is like that. We'll put in for a few hours after work and just fish that area.
Yep.
It kind of like doing that like gets you more familiar with an area too. Like you start to find stuff that you don't normally find if you're just floating through and casting.
Yep, you really can hit that area and kind of really pick it apart. I know there's on a certain stretch, there's an area that, you know, if you start at the very beginning, by the time you get there, you're already kind of tired and you want to kind of just, you're just casting through it. But when you go and you spot hop it, you can really pick it apart and kind of find all the structure, find all the rocks under on the riverbed, things like that. And really kind of gives you an option next time you do float it, you know, oh, I need to stop here because there's this, and this, and kind of pick those things apart to pick fish off. So,
which that kind of reminds me, the spot or that float you were talking about at the beginning of the show where we had a ton of fish. Me and Matt both have Newports now. We're putting them on our kayaks. So there's going to be a show about that probably soon. That spot, we can motor up to it now.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. Like, it's going to change, in all honesty, having these Newports, which I'm super excited to get, because I'm going to have it going down Dale Hollow. I have it on the P127 just to get, you know, me from spot A to spot B, so I don't have to pedal the whole time. Mostly for 2 reasons: one, it's more efficient, and B, I'm lazy. But during the actual season, it'll be on the RVR for the rivers, because those Newports, I don't know if you've ever seen one of the promotional videos, but you can go mock Jesus at a tree limb underground or underwater and hit it, and the whole Newport will plop up and still keep working. They beat the crap out of the thing, and it works fine.
Yeah.
So it's going to kind of change how we do a lot of our floats. A lot of times we don't have to do big long floats to hit a certain section anymore, or we can do the float going upstream instead of, we can do a super long float, because we can kind of get through a little bit quicker in the areas we don't want to fish, or, you know, we have the ability with the motor. So I'm super excited. Yeah, it's going to be such a good time.
Justin, we're going to have to pull Justin around.
He's made his choice.
Now, he's been thinking about a motor for a while, so he needs to just get one.
I've got an XI3 for sale.
Yeah. Oh,
Just throw that on the front of the Kusa. It's fine. It'll work.
dude, I bet the freaking Kusa with a Newport would be sweet.
Oh yeah. I mean, any of these riverboats, like your Sholey with the Newport on it, my RVR 119 with the Newport on it. I mean, these are going to be slick and they're going to be quick because they're just going to handle great. Oh, I'm so excited about it.
The only thing that's gonna suck is like transporting in between access points with 2 kayaks that have a motor on it and one that doesn't.
Yeah, but if you think about it, I mean, that Newport only weighs 14 pounds. Like, the only true weight thing is the battery, which is like this is Brad's 24
Well,
volt smaller, but like that's a 24 volt and it weighs
yeah.
probably, I don't know, 30 pounds.
I was just saying, like the way the bracket sits on the kayak on the back, it's like I have to put my kayak in nose first now.
Oh, well, yeah, because it sits, even with it level, you're still going to, especially if it's probably going to want to drag on downward slopes.
Yeah.
But that's the joy because I have sidekicks, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So it works out.
That's nice.
But yeah, so when this episode comes out next week, we will be at Dale Hollow, or at least a day or two later, we'll be at Dale Hollow. Does it come out next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday the 17th. So we'll be down there. Hopefully, we're gonna try to do a show down there. I'll be honest, guys. The more I think about it, the more we're just gonna want to fish and go to sleep and wake up and go to fish. But we're gonna see what we can do. It also depends on the Wi-Fi situation. Last time we went there, the Wi-Fi was like from 1997. So gotta see if it can handle everyone because we're gonna have 9 or 10 hosts down there, and then Paddle and Finn, we're doing a live show for like the captain's meetings and all that fun stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully, though. Hopefully. So just keep your eyes peeled just in case you see something pop up.
Yeah, I don't know what we'd have a show about, but
Oh, I don't know. We could talk about what we're doing so far down there, things like that. What's working, what's not. We can talk about Cam flipping his kayak again.
for the
second time in the same lake. I do want to go to
spot.
I want to go to that spot because there's no way his stuff has moved.
Dude,
and I want to see. It was only I'm going to bring my waders because he was like, yeah, it's only like hip deep. So I'm going to bring my waders to start kicking that whole stretch and see if I can. Because if I luck out and pull up a rod with a Metanium or an Antares on it, I'm not giving it back. It's mine. So
I just thought of something funny. How funny would it be if he goes back to that same spot, flips, loses all his gear again, but like comes up with 2 rods that he lost last year?
Yeah. He traded with the Great Lake.
He's like, oh, I lost my Metanium or my Antares DC, but I got my Metanium back.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, you know what else is great about this trip? Can you tell me, Brad?
Bass Pro Bass. Cumberland Pro
Bass. I've been saving up money all year.
Oh man!
I told Cam the other day. So for everyone who didn't listen to our show last year, Pro Bass is a gas station that has probably the best tackle shop in the world I've ever been in. And it's amazing. They've got everything from JDM stuff that you don't see anywhere, and then reels out the Ying and rods, and it's just a bunch of awesome stuff. And
it's like a hole in the wall place too.
It's just right off the highway, and it just says bait sold here. And you go in, and it's like, yeah, bait sold here, and everything else that you ever need. I mean, they had Mega Bass rods in there last year, St. Croix Legend Extremes.
I'm pretty sure they had like Sunline plasma braid.
They had X plasma in there. They had Shimano JDM reels, Daiwa JDM reels, every Abu Luz and reels that you can imagine to find. And they had everything. It was just awesome. They have so much stuff, and they had like 14 different colors of shower blows. So we're buying some of those.
It's not even that big of a place either. Like, it's underwhelming, and then you walk in, just like, whoa.
Yeah,
they got a lot of stuff.
And even when you're done with all that, you just walk next door and you go to the actual gas station part, which is half the size of the tackle shop, and you can get yourself a Mountain Dew and be on your way, and it's great.
We should just get them on our show.
We need to just to have them on there and show some pictures. We'll see if we can talk them into it. We'll see what we can do. But I've got nothing else. Brad, do you have anything else before we let them go?
No, man. Don't have anything at all.
Well, everyone, thanks for sticking in. I know shorter episode. We're just talking about the Dark Horse box and that app, but definitely some information you can look at. And don't forget to check out DarkHorse Tackle, Nikko baits, and Paddle and Fin, and then keep your eye out for the Dale Hollow thing. Thanks, guys.
See ya.